Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce my co-host, my partner in crime, my comrade at arms, my fellow film banterer. He's irreverent, he's impossible, he's irresponsible, he's irreplaceable. He's a man of many tastes, he's a man with time to waste. When he likes a film, he has many reasons, for he is a man for all seasons. He's a man who needs no introduction, for his opinions are his corruption. The master of ceremonies, the master debater, the loquacious chatterer of all things cinema, the red-headed rabble-rouser. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Crimson Dynamo, Daryl K. Smith. Hey! Thank you, everybody. It's so good to be here. And now...
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I am here today celebrating the bearded clam beside me, known to you all as Harry P. Ness, and known to some of you as Christopher Picard. He is a warm, compassionate android that loves and worships movies more than anyone I know. He is the behind-the-scenes wizard who tampers with our raw footage to make it more entertaining for you few good men and women who grievously attend our live show each week, only to refuse to rewatch it on YouTube after Chris works so hard that you may. Sure, he has anger issues and screams at me with wild abandon at least once every 2 weeks, whether he wants to or not, and yet I would truly want to sit beside no other in the grueling, relentless pursuit of the reviewing of cinema for the blessed few so in need. He is simply a great guy who always has to text the last word and adores the films he adores with spectacular grace and articulation I wouldn't expect from a monkey half his age. He is simply the best man for the job. I give you Chris Picard. Why, thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
You are too
Very
kind.
welcome.
This is
And
such an
now,
honor.
people of Earth,
Thank you.
ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen,
Thank you.
here we are.
My friend Chris, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody.
All right, here it is. This is our 53rd episode.
53rd.
This is 1 year. It is now 1 year that we've been doing this miserable show.
It's true.
That we adore, and we hope you do too.
We do.
We truly want you. We love doing this, and sure,
We do.
maybe we don't
It
have a lot
gives
of
us
viewers.
joy.
It gives us joy. Whether it gives you joy or not, we hope that it does.
We get to
It's all that we can
vomit
really
our
do.
opinions to you.
We do. We regurgitate.
and we thank you for watching us.
We regurgitate our thoughts
We do.
and everything that we can every
Yes.
week, and we do our best to watch as many movies as we possibly
We
can.
make it a job, I'll be honest with
And
you.
absolutely the truth.
And
We do
today
our
we're
best.
doing something a little different for
We are.
our 53rd episode. We're going to do a retrospective look at our favorite films of the last year of doing
The
film
last 12
banter.
months.
Yes.
This is not the last.
It's not just 2017.
It's not just 2017.
Yes.
We also go into the last 3 months of
2016.
Of 2016.
So you might
here.
see some overlap
So
from
you might
things
see
we've
some
done
overlapping
from
yeah.
last year.
Exactly.
But this officially begins season 2 of Film Banter. So thank you for watching. We hope you'll enjoy tonight's extravaganza of opinions, whatever that was. So let's begin. Thank you again.
Thanks everybody. So good to be here.
So we
It's
both,
certainly a thrill.
what we did is
We'd love to take you home with us.
we would love to.
We'd love to take you.
You're in our pockets here, in our hearts. We kind of did a thing this week where we each picked our 10 favorite films that we've watched over the past
Correct.
12 months.
Exactly.
And we're going to compile them to a list of 10 altogether. So 5 from you,
Yes.
5 from me.
Well, no. 10 from each of us.
I thought you said we were only going to do 5 each. That's what you told me. For a
no.
total of 10.
We were going to do this. We were going to do.
It's hard to keep up.
Well, the last thing we discussed was that we're just each going to do 10 films.
Well, that's fine. We're just going to touch on them anyway, so that's
right.
fine.
But we were going to take, of our 10 films, I was going to take 5 of those films,
Yes.
say our last 5 through 1
Got it.
that we were going to speak about a little bit more fluidly, but we're not going to do that now. We're just going to give our top 20 films.
Quick overview of
10 from him, 10
that
from
sounds
me.
good. That's fine.
I can start the batch right
You
now.
start with number 10.
I'm going to start with my number 10. My number 10. Now, these are not necessarily films that the critics have loved
No,
and so
these
forth.
are just our favorites.
These are our favorites. They may be guilty pleasures.
Exactly.
They're just films that we saw in the theater, we saw at home, we saw on Netflix, whatever.
Films that were
we
released
just
within the
happened
past
to-
12 months.
Films that were released
Not
within the
something
past
that's,
12
new to us that might not necessarily be released recently. So go.
Exactly.
You do your first choice.
All right. So, my first word is bazinga. Now, the first film I have, my number 10 film, as we count down each of us. So, let's say, I'm going to say this is number 20.
Okay.
This is number 20.
I see what you're saying. That's fine.
Then you're going to go, then
I'll
I'm
do
going to go,
19.
blah, blah, blah. Correct.
Yeah.
My number 20 film in our, as we count down to number 1, The Atomic Blonde.
Ah,
Or
nice.
just Atomic Blonde, I'm taking.
Very nice.
There you go, Miss Charlize Theron.
We both love that film.
Both love the film. It's
fantastic.
a great little movie. It's action-packed.
Yeah.
It just gave new credence to, I think,
I
to
agree.
Charlize as an action hero.
Yeah.
I hope that we have many more.
It
I
feels
hope
like Fury Road opened up her action,
her
action,
the action vein in her
yes.
in her soul, and I hope that she continues to do more Atomic Blondes.
That'd be nice.
I can't see why we can't have an Atomic Blonde 2 and 3
And then,
and 4.
and maybe if we're lucky, an Atomic Blonde
I
John
am
Wick
Groot.
crossover.
I am Groot.
That wouldn't happen because it takes place in different time periods.
No, I
but
couldn't do that.
That would be kind of fun.
That's not going to happen.
In a fantasy world.
And of course, she was in Fast and Furious also. She did make a cameo.
Oh, that's
in
right.
that.
She did. I forgot about that.
She
Yeah.
did, and she was great. But and she's
always
also, she played the evil witch and the
Huntsman.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah.
I love Charlize. So
I love her
there's
too.
my number 20 film, Atomic
Okay.
Blonde.
All right, great. Well, my last one, my number 19 for tonight's purposes, is Darren Aronofsky's Mother. I put that on there, and I think that's a. We reviewed this film obviously a week or two ago.
We did.
We both thought it was a highly memorable film. It's a shocking movie. This film is one of those movies that will stay with you long after you've left the
Absolutely.
theater. It's
No
made
question.
its imprint in the Parthenon.
Now, I
of
also have this on
films.
my list, but it is further down, so
That's fine.
I'm not going. You discuss it.
Yeah, I just think that this is a phenomenal piece of work. It's a slow build, and then once it takes off, the last 40 minutes or so, it's just amazing.
I am Groot.
That is a wonderful glass mug. And it just blew me away. I didn't see the ending coming. It's a ferocious film. It's a shocking movie, like I said.
It is a snowball.
There are
as I said. It
visuals
just
in this
keeps-
movie that you will never forget.
It gets more intense.
And for
more
that,
intense.
I give Darren Aronofsky, the director, obviously, a lot of credit for really doing something different and pretty bold. It's a film that's getting very mixed reviews.
Absolutely, and as a reward to Darren,
but
I'd
it's a
like
great
to,
film.
I'd like to give Darren Aronofsky the pleasure of Miss Jennifer Lawrence because he deserves her.
He does. He earned it.
He earned it, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen.
But
And,
yes, honestly, I know a lot of people probably have not seen the film in the theater. I
Yeah.
would just say, give it a chance when it's on video.
There you
You're
go.
not risking more than an hour and a half, 2 hours of your time. Just watch it at home. It's just one of those movies that you will be thinking and talking about.
absolutely.
So that
I
said,
agree.
I really enjoyed this film.
All right.
I'd like you to move forward with your next one.
I'm now going to move on. My number 18 film.
Yes.
As we progress towards our number 1 film.
Yes.
But that's the question: who's going to have number 1?
I don't know. We'll
you
have to
will,
fi-
because you're the
I
odds.
guess you're right.
That doesn't seem fair, actually.
Doesn't matter. Well, you started, so I'll
So
end
maybe
it.
we shouldn't do the 20 through 1. We should be
Just
doing.
doesn't matter.
Each
Just
of us
keep
should
doing
be
it.
doing our 10, 9, 8. That's really how it should work.
Whatever
So
you
I'm going
want
to
to
switch
do,
it up. I'm
I
going to
don't
change
care.
it up, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
you do your number 9.
All right. So
That's
here's
the best
my
way to
number
do it.
9. My number 9 is John Wick Chapter 2.
Nice.
I love the film. I love Keanu. I love this
It's a great
whole
movie.
series. It's a great series.
We both love the series.
Can't wait for number 3 to come out.
Me too.
Keanu is busy.
Not coming out for another 2 or 3 years.
Well, I think 2 years. They said.
I thought they said 19.
2019. That's 2 years.
All right.
It's already set for May 1st, I believe.
That's right.
Or one of those
First time
deals.
it's coming out in May. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, exactly. Well, they use most films. A lot of movies do.
No,
come
but
out
the
in
John
May.
Wick franchise.
Oh,
The
okay.
first one was October, and the second one came out in February. Now this one's May.
Well, they're giving it 2 years.
This
so
one-
plenty
yeah.
of time, and they'll get it right this time. I have a feeling he may just die at the end of this one.
hope not.
I hope not, because. But then, how can and it is a trilogy, and that's how it's meant to be. So
Well, maybe he finally
almost
just
has
gets to
die.
retire and
He
relax.
almost has to die. No.
I mean, you're probably right.
the
I'd hate to
violence
see him
of
die.
this particular. I agree. I agree. Let's not talk about that. It's a slick production. It's so beautifully made.
Gotta see these
ultra
films.
violent.
Yeah.
I actually like the first film better. In all honesty,
I would agree with you 100%.
because
yeah.
I like the whole revenge factor.
And it was so new, you know?
It was fresh in our minds. The whole revenge thing. And this, it's more of a continuation of story.
But what I liked is that it literally picked up right after the other one
literally
ended.
the day,
I love that.
practically
I love that.
the day
yeah.
that the previous one. But as you recall, he was really banged up at the end of number one.
Yeah.
And he goes and picks up that dog.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes place maybe a week or even a month later, I think.
I don't think it's a month, but it's
Well,
within that
think-
period.
It's one of the very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So, but if you watch John Wick 1 and John Wick 2 back to back, it's just
That's
a
great.
magnificent experience. I didn't think I was going to like 2 as much, but I did. I love it. It takes place in Italy, most of it, and then it just takes off. It's just a constant propulsion.
It is. It's in your
momentum.
face the whole time.
It is in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's my
Great.
number 9.
Cool. Yeah.
Your-
Well, my number 9. We've touched on this show.
well, no, your number. You already did your number 9.
No, I did 10. I only did one. I did Mother. That was my number 10.
Oh, that's the only one you've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Now I'm doing my number 9 because remember you started.
All right. Go ahead.
My next choice is the comedy drama romance The Big Sick with Kumail Nanjiani. It's based on the true story of his romance with his now wife.
Correct.
It's a story of a stand-up comic who falls in love with a kind of a quirky girl. She gets very sick, and it's about how their relationship progresses after she goes through this trial of illness. And it's a really wonderful little movie. It's funny, it's charming, it's sad, it's real. You can identify with it. I think anybody that's ever had a loved one have an illness and you've been visiting them in the hospital.
I've been there.
Yeah, me too. You can definitely relate to this film. It's very well done. It's smart. The dialogue is good. It's funny, and it's got a heart where it needs to be.
It really does. It takes its time.
It takes its time.
Wonderful film.
You go from heartstring moments where they're being pulled to then you're laughing out loud, and it's just really well done. One of the best films of the year, in my opinion. It's a wonderful little movie. I highly recommend The Big Sick. Check it out when it comes on video, which should be any moment.
Video, it should be. Well, no, actually, I don't believe it comes on until like November. Actually,
it's that late.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's taken.
Anyway, it was in theaters early summer.
Yeah.
But it's a great film, so I
is a
really
great
recommend it.
Yeah.
Sir, what's your next choice?
Let's see. My next choice would be
Number
my
7.
number 8.
8. I'm sorry.
My number 8 is Get Out.
I forgot about that film.
I almost didn't
That's a
want
good one.
to use Get Out, but I like, I saw it. He just dropped his phone. He's going to break it again. He breaks everything in his whole life. Everything just keeps breaking.
Oh.
You should see his car. It's a mess. A brand new car destroyed.
Not really.
Because he backed out of the garage. No, I'm sorry.
It has a
Forgive me.
streak of
Doesn't
paint
matter.
on it.
Hey. But I really did. What was the movie I just said there?
Get Out.
Oh yes, Get Out. You want me to leave? No.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, God
Filmed,
damn it.
written and directed by Jordan Peele.
I'll tell you something. I saw this film in the theater, and I didn't care for it so much, as you may recall.
I remember.
Or maybe you don't.
No, I remember.
Yeah, I didn't care for it that much. But then when I saw it again on video, I really, really enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And
It's a good film.
not
Solid.
only is it just, in these trying times of where, we have a Donald Trump racial strife, we have division amongst our humanoids on this planet, in this country. I think it's a great little. It's a horror film. It's also a very fine symbolic statement of race in the world. Not the world necessarily, but let's just keep it to a minimum of our country. And I think it's a great little commentary on black and white getting along, and yet there's an evil in this movie that is pertaining to black men specifically in particular, that is almost an underlying theme throughout the film. So therefore, the racial tension that is absolutely on display and within the confines of this wonderful, smart little film. It's beautifully written, directed.
It is.
It's also got a scary element to it. I love that little scene that we talked about that was very much like Under the Skin. There's a great little movie
that was a
where
good
falling
sequence.
into blackness. Oh, it was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
I love the star of this movie.
He's very good.
Very good. He also happened to be in Black Mirror.
He was in season 1, episode 2 of Black Mirror.
Great little segment of Black Mirror. If you haven't seen Black Mirror, it's a Twilight
Netflix, check it out.
Zone Netflix kind of thing, but it's
great.
You don't have to see every single show in succession.
Self-contained.
Because each one is like a Twilight Zone episode of its own sort. I do suggest, however, watching them in succession.
I agree.
Only because they seem to progress from, kind of tame, kind of mild, and then they just get intense and more intense and more intense.
Season 3 coming soon.
Season 3 coming soon.
Next
I
year.
can't wait. Yeah, Stranger Things,
wait.
of course.
Stranger Things is only weeks away.
Coming up only 3 weeks away.
28th.
So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's my number 8
Great.
right there.
Number 8,
Get
wonderful. All right, and my number 8. Okay, my number 8 came out earlier this year, Patriots Day. It is a action drama retelling of the Boston bombings,
I'm very
starring
familiar
Mark
with
Wahlberg. This film was one of the most tense movies I've seen in a while. Peter Berg, the director, has now pretty much been the go-to guy for retelling of unfortunate incidents that involve death, and he did Deepwater Horizon, which was obviously a disaster, and he's just very good at wrangling this dramatic action tightrope, and he does a very good job at building this story of this horrendous event that happened only a mere 3-4 years ago.
Of course, the second, great double feature is
what I reviewed last week, Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal. This is more of an action movie, whereas that was more of a drama, personal drama. That movie was a very small, narrow view of one man's life. This is a broad scope of the entire incident. But it is very powerful, very well done. I thought they did a great job with it. It's a very American movie, a very patriotic movie, hence the title. But I really enjoyed it, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year.
Really?
I loved it. I was just...
I liked it. I did like it. I can't say it was one of my favorite of the year, but it was very
I was
well
on
done.
the edge of my seat, and
I agree.
When I was compiling my list for this episode, and I was reviewing everything that we've talked about on this show, I had to go down my list and think about my reaction to the films that I've seen.
Sure.
Which ones do I often go to in my brain? Do I think about more often? Which ones have a lasting, a feeling with me? And this is one of those movies that automatically came to mind, whereas a lot of other movies fell out of my brain.
Really?
So to me, this movie left its mark for whatever reason. Right. So therefore, that's why I've included it on this list. Yeah. I really enjoyed the film. I think Patriots Day is a great film.
Okay.
And I recommend anybody seeing it. So with that, let's move to your next.
My next, number 7, I believe it or not, I'm actually giving just due to the magical content of Disney's Beauty and the Beast. I adored this film. I went in not really giving too much of a damn about it, and I came out completely sobbing.
It's a wonderful film.
It's a great movie. Yeah. It definitely...
Now on Netflix.
It is now on Netflix.
Enough, yeah.
Very surprising that it made it to Netflix quite so quick. Yeah. Usually big blockbusters like this take a while. Unless there maybe somewhere along the line someone has felt that the quality of that particular film may not be meeting the standard that hopefully the audience reaction would be to it. Hence the film Rogue One. The Star Wars film, the only Star Wars film to ever make it on Netflix. Why? Because it's the worst Star Wars film that was ever shot. It's the worst Star Wars film ever made. It's the most horrible.
Episode 1 is the
Star
worst.
No, that's not true.
I disagree.
Well, I almost might go in there with Episode 1. That's the Phantom Menace, I believe.
Yes, with Jar Jar.
I didn't mind the Phantom Menace so much, but it wasn't great.
Although I will say, Ewan is spectacular in all 3 of those movies, and Liam Neeson to me was the whole first movie.
He was great. He was great. Also, Ewan McGregor.
I just said Ewan was great in all 3.
Oh, I thought you just said Liam Neeson.
No, before that I said Ewan was great in all 3.
Oh, okay.
Of the prequels. But for me, the first one, Liam, was the draw.
Well, true. He was Obi-Wan, so he was great. But I loved them also. No question. I loved. No, forget that. I like.
You're back
Star
to Beauty
Wars
and the Beast.
movies. I'm back to Beauty and the Beast. I thought little Emma was good.
Great job.
And I liked what's his name?
You talking about Dave?
No.
Who you mean who played the Beast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dave.
Who's in everything? We've
and
talked about him so much. How did his name?
His name was Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. I think that was his name.
No,
his name is Dave.
Continue. It'll come to me.
Yeah, it's like a real quick. It's an easy name. It's not. It's like
I know.
It's like Dave.
It's very
Jones
short
or something.
It's not Evans. Is it something?
No,
Evans?
it's not. No, we should.
What the hell is it? We've only mentioned him 100 times on this show.
He's
Talk
only
about
in a dozen films.
A brain fart.
He was in the Guest.
The Guest? No, I see his face.
Love the Guest. I can see his face right now. Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
He was also in that film with.
He was in so many movies.
He's been in a lot of films this year. Dave, is it Dave?
No.
Begins with a D.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens.
That's
there you
what
go,
it
ladies
is.
and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Once again, the Crimson
Good
Dynamo
teamwork here.
Comes through. Okay, so there we go.
Beauty you know what I read? You know what I just read the other day?
Please.
You know who auditioned to play Gaston?
Who?
Idris Elba. He's like, yeah, there's an audition somewhere of me singing that role. I really wanted to play that role.
No kidding.
But they went with Luke Evans.
What's his name?
Luke Evans was great.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that your final thoughts, or do you have more to share?
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Beauty and the Beast. I like the film. I thought it was beautifully made. It's a classic musical, no question about it.
No, I would agree.
There you go. Let's move
All right,
on.
my next choice, my number. This is number 7 now, right? What number are we at?
Well, I just did 7, so you're doing 7.
Okay, yeah. So my number 7 is a film that we both have spoken about with great admiration.
Okay.
La La Land.
Okay.
With obviously Ryan
Stone?
Gosling and Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
A little verbal
Yep.
issues today. It's probably because of my
Absolutely.
migraine. But this film is already a classic. When I saw it in the theater, I came out, wow.
No question.
Thinking to myself, this is already a classic.
I agree.
It's so well done.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful film to watch.
Should have won Best Picture
It's
instead of
so
Moonlighting. No
human.
question.
It's such a great piece of work.
What film
they're
are people
both
going to
fantastic.
remember in 5 years from
I
now?
know, it's gonna be La La
Moonlight or
Land.
La La Land. But
I
then
know.
again, The Wizard of Oz has withheld the test of 75 years
know.
of time, and yet But then again, that was also the year of Gone with the Wind, and that also has maintained its
That's true.
longevity. That happened to be a very special year for cinema.
Yes, that's
also.
true. There's always a few of those special years.
Citizen Kane was right in there,
yes.
and that little pocket, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, with Robert Donat, who actually won Best Actor instead of Clark Gable. Frankly, my dear, I do.
Anyway, La La Land is it's just a fantastic piece of work.
It is a fantastic piece
Damien
of work. I'm going to give it a little
Chazelle.
applause. for
Damien
La La
Chazelle,
Land.
the filmmaker, did a great job
Beautiful
with that.
piece of work.
It's
is
just
a magnificent
a
piece.
wonderful movie. It's just it's
Absolutely
about
true.
Hollywood. It's about love. It's about regret. It's about so many different things. About
So many
artistry.
different emotions.
It's great. Thank you. Why don't you go with your next
And if you
choice?
get a little high, it's better to watch it that way.
Go with your next choice.
And on the 4K disc, it's just, ladies and gentlemen, it's immaculate. Okay, my number 6 film this year is, I just looked at it, but I'm going to look at it again because it is, in fact, thank you very much. I'm going with Train. Oh, shit. Well, that
There's
was
not much left.
too much.
Oh,
I
went to my
dropped
head.
it. I dropped it. Let it go. Train Spotting 2, I'm going with.
You know, I almost put
I
that on
love
my
Train
list.
Spotting 2.
but
I
I
really
didn't.
did, and I kind of think of Train Spotting and Train Spotting 2
It's one film.
as one big
Yeah.
giant film, but there is a 20-year gap,
Of
so
course.
we have to give credence to what is done. But just this pure Danny Boyle, just for sheer movie making. I love the guy. I love
He's
Train
the best.
Spotting 2. The man just makes great films.
He does.
As I said last week or the week before, we were talking about Alex Cox and of course Repo Man.
Yes.
And Alex Cox is truly the premeditated mentor, in my humble
Danny
opinion,
Boyle, yeah.
to Danny Boyle. There's a very similar style of filmmaking, lots of color, lots of good thugs,
Mm-hmm.
and just a hardcore, just a certain sense of style that is just wonderful. And there's gut reactions. I like a movie with gut reaction, a movie that makes you just get angry, and characters that are so vivid and so violent that there is just that they go over the edge. They go over the edge, just
Yeah.
like in Repo Man and Sid and Nancy and so forth. So that's my number 6 film, absolutely. No question, is Train Spotting 2.
Great.
There you go.
Well, my number 6 we've already touched on. John Wick 2. It's a little higher on my list.
A little higher on your list? Okay.
I really enjoyed it. It's just an extravaganza of action
is
and
indeed.
bloodshed and just amazing choreography.
Just rewind to our review from
And you know exactly how
3
we
minutes,
feel.
8
So,
minutes ago, and
with that,
you'll hear
let's
it.
go to your number 5.
Well, if you'd like to.
Yeah,
but
I mean, honestly,
this
what-
show's going to be over before you know
That's
it.
fine. That's okay.
It is?
Believe me, this is fine.
It is
I'm
okay.
enjoying this.
He's enjoying it. So. But it's only at the halfway mark right now. We're only at the halfway, and we're
Yeah,
halfway
we got
through
plenty
the
to work.
list.
Don't worry. Once
So maybe
we'll
we'll
be
stretch it out a
elaborating
little
more on
bit.
other things. It's fine. Don't worry.
Maybe we'll stretch it out a little bit.
It's
Okay, so that would be my numbers. Okay, my number 6. So
Your
my number
5.
5 is La La Land.
Yes.
I gave
Beautiful.
La La Land, once again, we just talked about it, but I like the mood of this film. I love the music in this movie. The first half hour for me is just a drab kind of, you're just
It
waiting
takes a while to pick up
for the
steam.
magic, but as soon as they get
Yeah.
inside the that observatory
Yes,
that was
yes.
used in the Rebel Without a Cause scene there, with Natalie Wood and James Dean back in 1956. I gotta say, or 57 actually, I believe that was. But I love La La Land, no question about it. But I will say this: seeing it in the theater for the first time was far more powerful. In the case of powerful films, there are very few that can maintain
Yeah.
that same reaction time. many
what you're
David
saying.
Lynch films, for me, will retain that magic upon seeing them. But I will say La La Land suffered a little bit there on my second viewing, only because the ending, which is so
Well, that's
heartfelt,
the whole thing. Is
and
you
the
don't know
ending,
the outcome.
that sense of loss and regret, and
Yeah.
all the things that go through one's brain that a lifetime, a youngster like him can't appreciate. Until I think when you see La La Land, I shouldn't say that, he does appreciate, because he loves great movies. But
And
but,
I've only seen La La Land
but-
once in the theater.
well, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you see it again on a screen,
I'd like to.
yeah, it's a different thing. But as we've noted, as I've certainly noted through the years, every movie as we get older has just more meaning to us all. I remember seeing Dr. Zhivago as a kid. And just being awed by the filmmaker that David Lean
Yes.
truly is, just a wonderful guy. A person I know just watched Great Expectations recently, and that person knows who he is. But I'll tell you, as we watch movies, as we progress in our age, and we go through life, suddenly, you might watch E.T.
Yeah.
You're looking at the kids, but as you get older, you start to maybe feel, hey, those kids are stupid little kids there, but not necessarily. That's actually a bad
Also,
example.
as you get
but-
older, you
but you start
react
to
to things a little differently
Well, exactly.
too.
No, that's my
Yeah,
whole point.
Yeah.
Is that we suddenly see things from an adult viewpoint. Where, as a kid, I remember watching Dr. Zhivago in the theater,
Yeah.
and just thinking to myself, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" I mean, this movie took me from. It's an epic. It's 3 hours long. It's
I've
an
never seen that
epic,
film.
Oh my God!
I know, I gotta watch
one
it.
of the greats.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
It's a better film, in my opinion, than Lawrence of Arabia, and I do
Okay.
love Lawrence of Arabia. But Dr. Zhivago, I tell you, it's just one of those movies that as you go through life and you relate to various aspects of viewpoints of characters, that's the greatness of film, is that you can go back to almost any film that you truly loved and still be enamored in it, but in different ways. Now the James Bond films, to me, the Sean Connery specifically, when I saw them originally as a kid, I was just more impressed with the gadgets. Oh, look, he gets all these babes. He's got all these great guns. There's these great villains. He saves the day. He's the hero. But now, as an adult, you watch the James Bond movies, and I see them as a comedy. They're funny because of the dialogue that was given to Sean Connery. He's hilarious. Just the way the little put downs, the little one-liners that constantly rotate. You don't think of them. You're so take for granted the cool that is transcribed within these films as we view them the first time. But then, as I say, we look back on anything.
That reminds me of something I heard recently. It was funny. I was watching The West Wing on Netflix.
Okay.
And there was an episode where Martin Sheen, who plays the president.
Why they don't have Twin Peaks on Netflix?
Well, I've already been deep into West Wing.
Oh, you're not
Anyway,
deep into Twin Peaks.
I have to
though.
get back into it.
Oh, I see.
How many times have we had this conversation?
I am 100,
I
and
know.
we're gonna have to have it 100 more.
That's
until
right.
you
My
can
point
finally-
is, there's a scene where Martin Sheen, as the president, is talking about James Bond, and now his character is he says he gets so bent out of shape and uppity about wanting a very weak martini. Because if anybody who drinks martinis know, shaken and not stirred. What that does is that actually makes your martini weaker because the ice is watering down your drink.
Correct.
If you want a stronger drink, you just say stirred. So it's kind of funny that we have this character that's getting all uppity about a drink that really isn't that impressive. It's kind of funny. You think about it in those terms.
Well, James Bond in that respect was Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming was, and I wholeheartedly recommend, if anybody can go on YouTube and just watch interviews with Ian Fleming, he is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is just he is a gentleman. He is a scholar. He is outrageously eloquent in every word that comes out of his mouth. James Bond is truly that man.
Yeah.
So, obviously that was just his personal preference
No, I know.
for a drink.
But
And
it's just
I think
funny
he
when you
passed
think
that
about
on to
it, yeah.
Bond as he did.
Well, we all put a
many
little bit of
aspects.
ourselves in any artistic endeavor. You bring yourself to it, whether we're an actor or a writer. It's very
Absolutely.
natural.
Very true.
Anyway, so why don't we move on?
Okay,
My
let's do
next
that.
choice, again, we've already touched on it,
Okay.
is Atomic Blonde. So
very good.
it is, yes. My fifth choice is Atomic Blonde. I mean, it's
Very good.
it's a fantastic film.
Absolutely.
It takes you through so many different crazy fight scenes
It does indeed.
and scenarios, and she just kicks ass throughout
She
the
kicks
entire
ass throughout
movie.
the entire film.
It's just great. So check out Atomic Blonde. I believe that's
When I
going to be on
first
video
mentioned-
soon.
When I first mentioned Atomic Blonde, you said you forgot about that one.
No, I said I forgot about Get Out.
Oh, okay.
That's what I forgot about.
I see.
Anyway, we've said it all. Why don't we just move on?
We can just
no
move
reason
on.
to beat a dead horse.
Okay, very good. Well, it's quite all right. Okay, my number 4 film is Logan.
Ooh, Logan.
Yeah, I love Logan. It's an epic. It's a Marvel.
It is a great film.
It's a Marvel film.
But I kind of forgot about
it. It is an epic. It really is a 2-hour and 15-minute journey.
It's a masterpiece.
It's
epic.
a masterpiece of Marvel mayhem, if you will. It just completely. It just takes us from a beginning to so many little bits, as movies used to do. You see a movie like I just mentioned, Dr. Zhivago. I mean, where you have countless scenes. I'm burping here, but countless scenes of just various, integral sections of a film that are all different. Most films we see today, Atomic Blonde, it's basically one scenario.
Yeah.
It plays out for an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours, whatever, but it's kind of one scenario, and that's kind of where films go these days. Even La La Land, I think, is a little bit better in that respect because we have the musical aspect. We have a love affair that kind of goes sour, then gets better, then goes sour again, etc. So, there's all kinds of little things that create a film, but generally speaking, there's not too many ideas out there in Hollywood, so I think they take one good one and they run with it, and that's okay, because very often running with that one good idea gives us one good film. But Logan gives us literally 5 films in one.
Yeah.
We get 5 different little scenarios where he just, we just go from various...
It kind of humanizes a character that was almost godlike for a long time.
It almost doesn't come across like a superhero movie. It comes across like a person who's dying.
Like an angel that's lost his wings. You know what I'm saying? Like, the angel has fallen to earth.
Quite so.
There's an element of them that's missing.
Symbolically gay. And I don't mean gay in the terms of,
I know what you're saying,
of male love, but gay in the terms of that happy enlightenment. It's not a happy enlightening film.
It's not a happy movie at all.
It's a film about a dying guy, basically, and who just happens to be in this Marvel universe. But the characters really don't... Well, he does have his claws, obviously, but... I love this film. I absolutely
loved it. And I kind of wish I had it on my list a little bit because it's really a great film.
It's a wonderful film. I loved it. I really did.
Well,
that is my number 4.
That was your 4. Yes.
Yeah, that is
my number 4 is a film called Brimstone.
Oh,
Brimstone,
interesting.
Starring Guy Pearce and Dakota Fanning.
Oh, that's quite a film.
This is quite a film, to say the least. It's a film that probably most people have not heard of. One of the reasons also that I've
Did you say brimstone?
Brim.
Yeah, it is brim.
Like to the brim.
Brimstone.
Yes, brimstone.
Yeah. Keep your nose to the brimstone.
Exactly. It's a film that I wanted to mention again because it's powerful. I want people to see it. It is a very serious, dark film.
Hard film to watch.
Hard film to watch.
Hard film to watch.
It's a Western in a very extreme sense, not necessarily cowboys on horses Western, but it takes place in that period. It's out west. There is a lot of... it's almost a tough movie to describe without giving away too much of the plot. But it's really just about Guy Pearce being this very driven guy, to say the least.
It is probably one of the
most film, in a way.
sadistic films I have seen in years.
It is sadistic.
We have things happen to children in this movie
it's
that are
very
atrocious,
very
that are horrifying.
hard to watch.
I don't recommend this for moms to watch.
No.
This is not a family movie.
It's not a family movie.
My cohort will often make reference to.
Yes, it's not.
This is not a family flick.
It's a very dark film.
Very dark and
very
sadistic as hell. It's a gruesome film. It's a hard film to watch, and yet you cannot take your eyes away.
No, it's a film for very serious film lovers.
It's a great choice.
And the acting on this film is tremendous. When I was told about this film, Darryl kind of watched it before me, and he said to me, Guy Pearce will be remembered for this film.
I think so too.
And I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Because this is a landmark performance in his filmography as an actor.
Absolutely.
It is a dark role that he just plays to perfection.
Well, he's played dark roles before.
But this is the darkest I think he's done.
This is probably one of the darkest.
I think the only one that really that I remember that was this nasty was, I believe, in Lawless, that movie with Tom Hardy.
I didn't like that film.
Me neither, but I thought that Guy Pearce was excellent. He played this corrupt lawman that was chasing these bootleggers.
I know.
He's just a very fantastic actor who I feel is a little unsung sometimes.
He's
great.
He's really the driven force behind Memento. So
Yeah,
Christopher
Memento was
Nolan
great.
really had a great eye and
Yes.
saw Guy Pearce for what
Picked
he
a
was.
great actor.
He also did that outer space film.
Yeah, I love that film.
What is the
It's
name
a
of
Luc
that?
Besson film.
It is a Luc Besson.
Yes, no,
I like that film.
No, me too.
It's
It's about
almost,
a prison in space.
Right. It's an alien-esque type
Yeah,
film,
it's
but
really
it has a
great.
great sense of humor to it. I
Yeah.
really loved it a lot. He
Yeah, it's
also
great.
did a movie.
Maggie
I believe
Grace
it's
is in
called,
that.
I think it's called The Lift. There's a movie he did, which is just he's being kind of followed around in a car.
Yeah.
And
I'm not familiar with this
it's
one.
an Australian film. It was wonderful. I know I mentioned it to you, and
You
I think I
probably
got
did.
you to watch it.
Yeah. Can't remember it.
I think it's called The Lift for some odd reason. And it's there's something in his trunk. We don't quite know what it is. We just go through this whole progression. A lot of Australian films. He was also played the. Wasn't he in that Kate Winslet film? The
Dressmaker?
The Dressmaker.
That's Hugo Weaving.
No, that was Hugo.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
you can't
forgive me,
forget
I
his
apologize for that.
his big Hollywood break was L.A. Confidential, which is an astounding film.
That's a great movie.
I think
also.
that's a solid movie.
It's
I
a
love
wonderful
that
film.
movie.
Yeah, Russell and he were both.
But anyway, real quick, back to Brimstone. It's just a really, one of those movies
it's a
that
tough film to
you
watch,
can't
yeah.
get out of your brain because it just digs its way in there, and you're captivated. I was up till 3 in the morning watching this movie.
I know.
It's a great film. It's on par with Unforgiven in terms of the stark
That's a good analogy.
violence.
There is a
there is a
severe
relationship there.
Unforgiven
They're in the same area.
parallel. Yeah, I agree.
So seek out Brimstone. Guy Pearce,
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning, excellent film.
It's also a bit confusing, though. They do jump
Well, there
around
are
a
time
little
periods,
bit.
yeah, that
We
change.
have, and Kit Harington shows up in that.
Briefly,
That
from
film
Game of
also,
Thrones,
right.
Kit Harington.
You
yes.
think he's going to save the day? It's great.
It's
though.
a great film. Yeah,
it
check
really
it
is a
out.
great movie. It's an epic in a
It
way.
is. It is an epic. Yeah.
It has a great little thing. If you're a Dakota Fanning film, she's extraordinary in this
is.
movie. She goes through a whole
She is a-
brothel.
yes,
She becomes
yes.
a whore. We kind of go through this amazing little world of hers. The
Yes.
movie almost switches over to a Dakota Fanning film
Yeah,
for
no.
quite a bit there, where we
Kind of
go
like the
into
way
this.
Psycho changes.
And yet
you know?
we have
neat.
Guy Pearce is literally Jaws.
He
is
is.
the shark from
Yeah.
Jaws. He is an endless pursuer
Yes.
of evil,
Yes.
and he's like that. He's like Nazi Germany, just chasing down the French, if you will,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or just trying to take over the Europe.
If you love
that
great
is-
acting, this is the movie to see.
It's really
It's
an amazing
great.
film. It's a wonderful piece of work.
On that note,
Okay, on
what's
that
your
note,
next
we're
choice?
going to move on. That would be my number. Is that my number 3 film?
I think we're up. I think this would be your 4
Oh, okay.
because my 5. Oh no, I'm sorry. Your 3 because my 4 was Brimstone. So you're up to 3. 'Cause you're ahead of me. Yeah.
All right. Then I'm gonna do my number 3 film is Their Finest.
I almost put that on my list.
I love this
Almost.
film. It's a British film.
Yes.
It's about people who worked for the propaganda
Yes.
world within the British against the Germans, etc.
During World War II.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we just have the people behind the scenes who are just prevailing within their world and dealing with the war as it comes close to home. Bombs are falling around them, and yet they're still doing. They're building a propaganda empire, more or less, so that the people fighting the war, the soldiers, and also the propaganda machine is building a proper stepping stone, so that the people of England can also not be in fear. They're trying to set a tone that. By creating these mini films that they do, of creating a victory within the minds of people.
Well,
that-
it's a film within a film where they're
Exactly.
reenacting the Dunkirk rescue.
Precisely.
And they're also trying to engage the Americans to join the war.
They are
Because
indeed.
they didn't obviously join till Pearl Harbor. But this film
Correct.
is very much about them trying to get them in.
Yeah, but it's
Very well done. It's a beautiful little movie.
Beautiful movie. It's
It
just
is.
beautifully acted.
It's great.
There's some touching things in it.
It is wonderful.
I really love this movie.
Charming little movie.
And once again, it has a little epic quality to it.
Yeah.
I just love films that are intricate and
It's
really
also a love story.
stay close and pay close attention to the characters within and flesh them out, make them real. I almost went for This Fantastic.
This Beautiful Fantastic.
This Beautiful
I
Fantastic.
know.
You know,
I weighed
love
both of
that
those
movie.
films. I did.
I love that movie so
know,
much.
it's
I
wonderful.
love the girl in it, and I loved Tom
Wilkinson, yes.
Wilkinson. He's just
I know.
so spectacular.
Those
in that
that's
film.
an honorable mention.
Those two pair of films, we reviewed them pretty much, I think, a week apart.
We did, yeah.
When we did them, we did
Yeah.
This Beautiful Fantastic, and then we did Their
Their
Finest,
or vice
which
versa.
came
Yeah,
out.
it was great.
But,
Both great.
I got to give a big kudos to Their Finest and This Beautiful Fantastic. If you can
Beautiful
check them
little
out.
films.
Films that really went nowhere here in the United States, but just films that were just precious to me as
and I hope people find
as
these
a
movies.
guy
They're
who
great.
loves movies. I love them both.
They're
really
both
did.
gorgeous little movies.
Absolutely true. Okay,
All right,
so we're bringing you to your number
my
three.
number 3 is I'm probably the only person. I would probably say I'm probably going to be the only person that would ever put this on their top 10.
Okay.
But this film, I don't know what it was about this movie. I adored it. It's called Before I Fall.
I knew you were going to choose
You
that
know,
film.
it's kind
when it
of a
came
young
out, yeah.
adult kind of a movie.
It is.
But it just got me.
I know
It's
it
a
did.
movie, probably because I love Groundhog Day so much.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite films. This film has a Groundhog Day-esque quality,
It
whereas
does.
the main character is continually waking up to the same day and trying to figure out why and how to change it. In this case, it's a young high school girl who dies, and she's trying to find out why she's reliving the same day over and over, and it's all about her
Well, she
learning
doesn't
more.
die. She's seeing other people die around her, and she's trying to figure out a way so
Why
that
she's,
they
I'm
don't
sorry,
die.
I misspoke. That's
You're
what. Yes.
just giving away.
No, I'm not. No, she's trying to figure out, why she's reliving the same day. I'm sorry.
When she's trying
So,
to also,
She's trying to. Her and us
she's
learn
watching
more and
people
more about
around
the
her
day
that are just
as the story continues.
Something is happening, and she's trying to control the events, and she realizes that she can control the events, just as Bill Murray did in Groundhog Day, just by doing one little thing different.
Little change
set
adds
something
change.
off,
It's a
and-
butterfly effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Precisely.
it's just a really great little movie.
No, it's a unique film, and when I looked at
I
it
loved
on the
it.
list of the past
Yeah.
year, I said, well, I wonder if he's going to choose that,
Yeah.
because I remember how much
You know,
he loved
and
it.
I did, and I thought of it again. I kept coming back to that film in my head, and I said, I gotta put it on my list. And I kind of struggled with where on the list to put it.
Yeah.
And so, it's higher up on my list because I just really adored this movie. I totally wasn't
you
even interested in it initially.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to give this movie a shot, and I really enjoyed
It's
it.
a unique film.
I really recommend it,
I
highly.
really did love it myself. I didn't love it as much as you.
And it's got a great little soundtrack.
I know you like the synth score.
I love synth. That's part of it, too.
He
I
loves
love synth. I do.
Synth.
I'm telling you.
Revenge of the Synth.
Revenge of the Synth,
That's
indeed.
what he loves. But,
I love it.
I
Before
agree
I
with you.
Fall,
It is a
check
great movie.
it out.
It is a cool little film. It's unique.
is.
It's not a kind of film that you see all the time.
No,
and,
you don't.
You've really got to seek it out.
It
and,
got overlooked totally.
They call me the seeker. I'm seeking high and low. Okay, my number 2 film
Number 2.
this year is The Big Sick. I
Nice.
loved The Big Sick. We just talked about it with Ramal
We did.
Kabai. Kabai Ramal.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kamal
No,
Dangiani.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Don Giovanni. Camille. I
Not
love this
Chameleon.
movie.
Kumail.
It got to me. I did have a scenario where I personally was
Yes.
involved with a sick person in my life who actually passed away. And so it got to me far more than the average guy, I suppose. So, but it was beautifully written. It's a movie that takes its time.
It does.
Most movies, they're rushing through it, just like Chris and I rush through the show every week because we want to keep you absorbed for this entire hour that we sit here.
But sometimes
And,
we take our time.
Not often. You know,
We don't have the
usually-
luxury. When you
we
got to
don't
cover
have the
10
luxury.
films,
You gotta have 20 films in an hour.
I don't think you guys want to sit here for a 2-hour
I
show.
know, dude.
Sniff
There's
that
only
coffee.
so much you can do. But so there you go, The Big Sick for me. I
Yeah.
love this movie. It's
a great film.
funny. It's dry.
Yes.
It's not an obvious humor. Their humor is encased within real life scenario. There is no joy in Mudville, so to speak, but there is, and what I mean is there's no joy in that hospital experience.
no.
And yet through the characters we have what is so real. He based it on his real experience of his personal wife, a woman that he loved.
And they wrote it
he
together,
He was an
which is
Indian man that was supposed to marry an Indian woman set
Correct.
up by his parents. So he almost has to divorce his parents
Yeah.
to be
And that-
involved with this woman.
And that's an interesting little part of the film, too. It touches on the culture.
It does,
Yeah.
indeed. And you know, it's all about love. The bottom line of this film is truly love. And it's very rare that we get a movie that so
You're right.
embraces love in its purest sense.
It does.
And love, all love really is. What is love? Love is just caring. It's just the caring for another human being or another a family.
Yeah.
It's just that caring essence. And it's not too often that we see that. You know, on sitcoms today, you would never think that any of these people, they're so busy one-lining each other and so busy cutting each family member down. You know, sitcoms have taken a very sharp turn, and I don't like where they go, where they are anymore. I don't like that sharp crudity that where little kids are, you know, calling people penis heads, and you know, it doesn't matter to me so much. I mean, there is a little bit of humor there, but there ain't no love. There ain't no love on the street, as Tim Curry used to say. And ladies and gentlemen, there's truth to that. And it's just so nice to see people that are swept in love, that are truly in love, and The Big Sick really it just captivated me in that respect. And
it's a great film.
Applaud.
Yeah,
I truly do applaud. It's if only I get my applause to work, because I think it's a wonderful film.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Script-wise, it will be nominated for Best Picture. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, definitely screenplay also.
I would like to also point out the fact, because I know he's not going to mention it, and I know a lot of people, it has already been contested that it is going to be one of the big Oscar contenders this year, and that is Dunkirk. And you know something? I hope you didn't do it as your number one film. But
Dunkirk is not on my list.
And nor mine.
No.
Nor mine. And
no,
I think
it's not.
You obviously liked it more than I did.
I liked it more than you, but I didn't love it. But remember, I didn't love it.
I think I may have swayed you a notch, because I think after I gave my perspective of its terrible narration. I was frustrated
with the film also.
Terrible narration, terrible.
And I'm a big Nolan
time
fan.
Link. Yeah, I love Christopher
I
Nolan.
couldn't put it on the list with any good conscience. I couldn't.
Go look at Rolling Stone, either online or whatever. My God, they thought this film literally hung the moon.
Everybody thought
it was. They
speak
about it with such reverence.
They
speak about it as though it is God incarnation. That Jesus came down and directed this film. I found it incomprehensible. I found it.
It's a tough movie to follow. That's why it's not on our
list.
list.
Tough movie to watch.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy was great. They got him here, one of the best actors of our generation. They got him sitting behind goggles the entire film.
I know.
Then again, we did discuss this, and also Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. We got him in a big headgear mask. And there was another film also. There were 3 films where Chris is wearing some kind of headgear. Regardless, it's not important. But I'm glad that it was not in your top 10.
No, it's not.
Is it my? No, I just did the Big Six.
So it's my turn.
You're number 2.
Yes. So my number 2 is a film that, like La La Land, is an instant classic. Wakefield, starring Bryan Cranston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we both loved this film.
I loved it. I don't know if I would put it. You know, I forgot about it.
I know.
As you have said through.
I really adored this movie.
I know.
There is
It's
beauty.
A unique film.
There is a charm to this movie.
True.
There is a very gorgeous piano score that's very simple.
It is.
That moves you through the film.
It's a classical film.
It is. No, but it's also.
I mean, the music.
The
is
score is heavy in piano.
The music is classical.
Yeah.
In
it's
fact,
gorgeous.
you used Adagio for strings, which is also the theme that was used in Raging Bull.
Okay.
You used that in last week's episode, I believe.
I might have. Yeah. Within the past few weeks, I did.
One of our musical interludes.
It's a beautiful
in
piece.
Our produced show.
Yes,
on
YouTube.
Never gets, he's rated.
Again, check it out, guys. Check out our show on YouTube. That's all I'm saying.
Who wants to watch the show twice? I don't blame you.
But it's better.
But it is better.
It's great.
You should really just be ignoring this show.
Fun, because you're missing the bits that we're doing, too.
We're missing the bits that we do,
Anyway, we
too.
digress, but it's great on YouTube.
Yes.
Everything's great on YouTube. But anyway, Wakefield with Bryan Cranston, he gives a fantastic performance.
This is your number 2 film?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a film about a guy who just gets a little frustrated with the hustle and bustle of everyday life, decides to just leave the world and live in the little space above the garage in his house.
Well, he leaves his family.
Yeah, but he leaves the world, too. He just leaves everything behind and goes to live above the garage in this little nook and watches his family from the window.
He just watches them.
And it's a gorgeous movie. Beautifully acted. His wife is Jennifer Garner in this film, who gives a heartbreaking performance.
You will fall in love with this woman.
Yeah.
Watching her for that hour and 45 minutes.
It's an amazing film.
It's an amazing film. I agree.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a film that, in my view, stands up there with a lot of classics like It's a Wonderful Life.
And yet I believe it's going to be forgotten completely
I think you're
at
right.
Oscar time. No one's even going to
I
remember
agree,
this film.
probably, and that's
It's
a shame.
because
One of the
Brian
reasons
is
I wanted
awesome.
to mention it.
I'm glad you
It's
did.
great.
I'm glad you did.
I loved it. I loved it. Check out Wakefield. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't watch Wakefield. It's wonderful.
Yep.
On that note, go to you for your number one
My number one
choice.
film, Mother.
Aha.
My number one film is Mother.
It's interesting that was my bottom of my list, but
I know.
still a great film.
You know, I have to say, what film made the biggest impression on me?
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, it is Mother.
Yeah.
It absolutely.
It definitely leaves its mark.
Did I love the film? I did not. Do I want to see it again? I do. I do want to see it again. I'm actually looking forward to
Show
seeing
your
it
buddy
again.
on Friday nights.
He'll
He'll be like, "What is this movie?"
Well, could be, but could be. But you know, I just worship the fact. I worship creativity.
Yes.
And I'm a huge David Lynch fan, as many of you may or may not know. And I just love when somebody does something outside the box, outside the realm. Darren Aronofsky has taken a very bizarre premise. He's transferred it into a almost world-like symbolism of symbolicism.
It's a new word.
It's a new
It's a DKS original.
It comes from India. It is called symbolism. It is very important to all of you who worship the karma. So, and basically that's what it's about. It's about karma in a sense, and that which there's so many conflicts here. We have the Messiah, we have Mother Mary, we have this endless stream of horror that just completely slaps us in the face like a fucking concrete block. Forgive my French, ladies and gentlemen. But that's okay. Thank you. It's all right. No, I missed that. I want to get some. I want to give a little applause to Mother. Jennifer Lawrence is. I think she's. You know, I almost think she's almost a little miscast. I would have liked somebody a little bit older, maybe. But then again, she's the perfect age. Yeah. We needed that Mother Mary. We needed that Mary Magdalene. We needed that younger person. She's beautiful. She's fantastic. She's a great actress.
She earned her stripes on this movie.
This pushed you to the limit, no question about it. The film is a knockout in every respect. You will never forget it for the rest of your life. No. I can't get it out of my brain.
I think there are some people that will be so turned off by this movie, but yet they will always remember it.
If you are a lover of film, if you appreciate any movie, if you refer to movies just as movies, you probably ain't gonna like this. But if you like
or
film,
flicks, the term I hate the most. I was a good flick.
Netflix and chill. But if you if you appreciate the new and the different, and somebody taking a chance, and somebody stepping out, you know.
And I give an applause to Paramount for saying, you know what, we're gonna try something completely bizarre, something that's really not commercial.
Yeah, but
we're going to give you carte blanche.
You don't tell Darren Aronofsky what to do, and I think that they
but they could have said we're going to pass, and he could have went to another studio.
No, they
Paramount's
never would have let that happen.
A pretty big studio.
Not when you got Jennifer Lawrence in there and Javier Bardem, who is not an A+ actor anymore, but.
He's still
up there, but you know, I think he's slipping.
He's not necessarily a box office draw, but he's on the A list.
Yeah, I know, but when you do stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean, you know,
that's just a paycheck, though. You know.
Yeah, but that's just it. When you're just taking a paycheck, for me personally, you've dropped off the ladder.
Yeah, but they've all done that. One for you, one for me, one for you, one for me, kind of thing.
You fell down half the ladder when you're just taking a paycheck because I don't want to see anybody. You know, Blockbuster is one thing, but Pirates of the Caribbean, which
Speaking
I happen
of Blockbuster,
to like.
do you like my shirt?
I happen to like. There you go.
Never forget.
Never forget. What is that? An homage to
Blockbuster video. It's a funny shirt. Yeah, kind of funny, right?
Never forget Blockbuster.
It's an homage to video stores in general because they're wonderful.
Which we've already forgotten about, basically.
I will never forget.
Well, there you go. But
I used to work at Blockbuster.
Mother, my number one film, only due to the sheer impact.
I was just going to say the sheer audacity,
impact that it had upon my soul, and it really did. If you have not seen this film, it's going to be very difficult to run out and see it. It's playing in very few theaters.
It's kind of dissipating quickly.
If you hit your 21 plex near you, you will see it playing in that, you know, way down at the last end of the aisle.
The theater that's got like,
exactly.
It's like a classical black box theater for like 6 people.
Very true indeed. Yeah. So there you go. That's my number one.
Great.
Your number one is?
Well, my number one, again, I'm probably the only person who would put this movie as number one. But it's a film that I know we both have great affection for with the lovely, the wonderful, the talented Jessica
Chastain.
Chastain,
Oh, God bless
the
you.
film that is called Miss
Sloane.
Sloane.
I love it.
Miss Sloane
I love
was
that
my
you
favorite film of the past 12 months.
And I tell you, I
love
applaud
it.
that you brought Wakefield and Miss Sloane
Yeah.
back to the forefront.
This movie
they both deserve
is
to
a
be remembered.
dynamite
and-
acting piece.
Absolutely.
It's a tense political thriller that takes place in D.C. She's a lobbyist.
Yeah.
She gives the performance, in my view, of her career so far.
Spectacular. Well,
It's a
she's awesome in
wonderful
everything
film.
she's in.
And I'm excited she's in the new Aaron Sorkin film that's
Right.
coming out, called Molly's Game, where
I know.
his
And they
first
say
time as a
she's-
director.
Yeah, right.
This is another Oscar bait for her. But
Could be.
this
Could be.
film is so tense. It's so captivating. It's also timely.
No, it's a great
very
piece of
political.
work. Great piece of work.
Great film that nobody
I love
talks
films
about.
that catch people red-handed.
I know.
I love that.
It's got an amazing ending that you don't expect.
Yeah.
It's a powerful movie.
It is
I
very
loved
powerful. Absolutely. It's
I
wonderful.
just adored the
Jessica,
hell out of this
I'm telling
movie.
you, I love Jessica Chastain so much.
She's wonderful.
As long as I have a face,
I know.
You know this.
She has a place to sit.
Hey, but seriously, folks,
Yes.
I love the woman. I think she has done no wrong.
She's wonderful.
I'm so sorry she did that movie, The Zookeeper's Wife, because I think that was a.
You know what? I didn't watch it because you
know,
gave us such a poor review.
You know, I love her, and
Yeah.
I like the aspect of her trying different things.
Yeah,
and
you
so
gotta
forth.
try new things.
But at the same time, it was just way below her standard.
I liked her a lot in Interstellar. I thought that was a cool role.
I loved her in Interstellar also,
Yeah.
and I loved her, believe it or not, going back to Guillermo del Toro produced film.
You know, I still haven't seen
Mother.
that movie.
Really?
Crimson Peak.
No,
Well,
no, Mother. I'm talking not Mother, but what was it
Crimson
called?
Guillermo.
No.
Guillermo.
The Mother movie.
Oh no, the movie is called
Mama.
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 Yes.
I love
No,
Mama.
that's a good horror.
That is
yeah.
a Guillermo del
good
Toro
film. He
production.
produced it. Yeah.
I love Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Crimson Peak.
Yes.
She is wicked as
Yeah, I gotta
hell
check
in
that movie out. I've been
film.
wanting to see it.
She
You and I
is
started
brutal.
watching it one night here, and I didn't stay for the whole thing, but I really
Oh,
want to
that's
see
too
it.
bad. I can watch that film.
I know,
over and
I gotta
over,
watch
and
it.
when we got Tom
Hiddleston.
Middleston is in that.
And we had Mia
he's
Wasikowska, whatever.
a
She's
little-
in that too.
She's very.
It's a good film.
It's a beautiful looking.
It really
film.
is, yeah.
Unfortunately,
From
as
what
a,
I've seen in the trailers.
well, as a horror film, it really fails short, unfortunately. But it's still just so great to look at.
But
There's such a
from what I
great
can tell,
atmosphere
it
about
must make up for in style and look.
But
His movies are beautiful.
I agree, and I can't wait for the Water Wheel.
Shape of
the
Water in
Shape of
December.
Water
That
that's
looks
coming
great.
out also. Wasn't that also the name of a film with Sean Penn?
That's The Weight of Water.
No, that's very true.
Yeah,
Very
obscure,
true.
by the way. Good choice.
But
Good
you know,
obscure movie.
I gotta say though that Crimson Tide is
Crimson Peak.
No, not Crimson Peak. Yeah, Crimson Tide. I keep saying Crimson Tide. Yeah, like Denzel Washington is gonna step out of this film, but but I gotta hand it to Guillermo.
Yeah.
Of course, he did do both of the. You know,
The first two Hellboys.
Hellboy films.
He did Pacific
but
Rim.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Is it?
is
I
his
think that's his masterpiece. I
without
agree.
a doubt.
100%.
That film is
You know, I'm
the
due to watch
dark
that again.
side
Yeah.
of Wizard of Oz.
It's
It takes
great. Yeah, that's
Dorothy
true.
as the little girl and puts her in hell.
It's horrible.
Living horrible
Beautiful.
hell. It is one of the most beautiful
Yeah.
films I've ever seen in my life. I've now watched it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
The Criterion, the wonderful, amazing Criterion film label. Who just puts out amazing films on DVD and Blu-ray
Yes.
and restores them to perfection. They recently put out Pan's Labyrinth about a year ago now, and rightly so. It's just such a dynamite piece of work. It's so cool and horrifying and frightening and terrifying at the same time. That guy who looks like Dan Bodaya.
Dan Hedaya.
Dan Hedaya. Remember
Yes.
Dan Hedaya from
Dan Hedaya's been
Blood
in
Simple?
He's been in a ton of movies.
I love Dan. He
Yeah.
played Nixon in some really bad
He
film.
was the guy in The Usual Suspects
Right.
whose office they were doing the interrogation in.
Correct.
Yeah, he's a
But
great actor.
He looks exactly like the guy who plays this.
The Spanish military guy. Yeah.
Horrible military guy.
Terrible.
Who's so Hitler-esque.
He is.
And so terrifying in this
Yes.
film. He really is just a monster.
He is.
This movie is spectacular. I can't give it enough.
It's great stuff.
But there you go.
So that's our list, folks.
There's our list.
We hope you've enjoyed it.
There you go.
Check us out on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and email us at filmbanter@gmail.com. We shall see you soon.
There you go. Thank you.
Goodbye.
And that's it, folks.